Good morning, everyone. So I'm Dan Ridley-Ellis from Edinburgh Napier University, and I'm going to be talking about trees and timber. It's a topic I like talking about a lot. Hopefully I will try and keep to the 15 minutes. It's too interesting a subject, though, to cover in such a short time. So a little bit about me. I run a research centre, which is really about wood properties, and we're interested in the whole resource, all the way from tree breeding to forestry, harvesting, processing, and also using recovered wood, recycled wood, and using a wider range of species. We're interested in the environmental side, the economic side, the social, cultural side, all sorts of products, construction timber, pallets and packaging, fencing, like all sorts of things. And that's not even everything to do with trees and timber. There's a whole lot more, as you will see in a moment. But the reason that I'm showing you this is to explain my background, my own personal background. So I studied university civil engineering. So I'm an engineer by background. In my civil engineering degree, I learned nothing about trees and wood, and that's not unusual. So all of the stuff that I've learned about trees and wood is through talking to people throughout the job that I've done. And coming in this indirect route is not at all unusual. A lot of people have done this. They've done a regular degree, they've somehow got involved in trees and timber, and then through the job they've picked up a lot of stuff. Okay, so whatever you think that forests are for, whether they're for environment and ecology, whether they're for jobs and providing materials, food and fuel, or whether they're for places for people to go out and exercise, there are plenty of jobs to make that vision of forestry happen. And there is quite a diverse view of what the priorities should be and what the balance should be in the industry. So it's not just about productive forestry, and it's not just about rewilding, and it's not just about recreation and tourism. There are all sorts of views and all sorts of stuff. Now in my presentation, I'm going to put in these little QR codes, which are bonus content if you have time afterwards to check it out, that I don't have time to show you. This first one is a nice video made from Confor, which is an industry association, and it shows different people talking about their jobs. I wish I could show it because it's very good, but look at it afterwards. So there are, it's difficult to talk about this because there is no single kind of job. There are indoor jobs and there are outdoor jobs. There are jobs in remote locations and there are jobs in towns and cities. There are traditional jobs and there are modern jobs. There are jobs where you do everything by hand and there are jobs where you do everything with machines. There are low-tech traditional jobs and there are high-tech modern jobs. There are jobs for school leavers and there are jobs that require many years of professional study. There are jobs that are manual. I would not say muscular because you don't really need to be physically strong. That's a misconception, but there are manual jobs and there are jobs where you're mostly using your brain. And there are jobs in the UK and there are jobs abroad. But whatever it is, it's really about people. So it's not just about forests, it's about people and the way that people interact with forests and the materials that people provide, the materials that forests provide, and the people that you work with, and the people whose lives you affect with the things that you do. So forestry is about trees and it's about people. It's the one common thing that I can say. So here are a few examples, and you might think this is the extent of it. You plant forests, you grow forests, you manage forests, you harvest forests, and you process the wood. But there is even more than that. There's the whole environmental side, the ecological side, especially these days looking at carbon impacts and wildlife and that sort of thing. But lately also thinking about circular economy, that's very important. So wood is a renewable material, we can grow more of it, but it's still limited. So we have to think about how we use that wood that's from waste products, how we use it again. So the circular economy is, I would say, part of the forest and timber industry. There's research and development, new products, but also understanding forests better, understanding the ecosystems, understanding the ecological side. And recreation and tourism, it's a big part of the industry. It's not just about forests providing materials, it's about providing income from people using them, going walking in them, riding bikes in them, having concerts in them, all sorts of things. And education, which we mustn't forget. So there's education for people that would work in the industry, but there's general public education too, because everyone should know about trees, they should know about forests and what they provide for us. And there's all the supporting things in this. So there are management roles, there are roles for engineers and mechanical engineers, civil engineers, roads, drainage, all that sort of thing. There are science jobs, there are mathematics and statistical jobs, accounting jobs, computing jobs, jobs that you relate to geography, there's policy and marketing jobs, art and design jobs, even languages are relevant because forestry is international. And of course, you need to speak to people from different countries. So everything, I would say, is related to forestry. And when I'm talking to people about trees and timber, usually the first question that I ask is, what are you interested in? What things motivate you? Because I think whatever the answer to that question is, there's a way that you can turn the conversation around to trees and timber. Because there is something to do with trees and timber that will get that will link with what you're interested in. So whether it's a science job or a manual job or a working with people job or whatever, there's a connection with forestry and timber. So that's where I like to start. I'm going to plug this forestry induction pack that's produced. You should definitely read it. It's really interesting. It's got lots of nice pictures in, and I'm going to crib a lot from that. I'm going to show you a few highlights. So there are a few different kinds of jobs listed in there. It's definitely not complete because there wasn't enough room to list all the kinds of jobs. But you can see in there are everything from the things that you might think of, the forest rangers, the ecologists, the forest surveyors, the forest workers, the harvesters, but there are managers, machine operators, GIS, Geographical Information System technicians, there are surveyors, there are architects, like all sorts of jobs involved. Very, very diverse range of jobs. So what are the opportunities and progression? Well, the routes in are complicated, and I don't think I'm going to explain them properly, but in general terms, you can get in through work experience just by starting a job and working in that or getting a placement. There are apprenticeship opportunities and there are some academic qualifications, not that many, but there are some at the further education and higher education level. And there are vocational training opportunities too, where you can learn about specific things related to specific jobs. And it's not just open to new people. In fact, there are a lot of people coming into the industry who've done a previous career in something else, and they're just reskilling or turning their expertise into a new field. I would say the big needs, like in terms of people that we need working in the industry, are to do with forestry. So foresters, professionals, and people working on the land to actually establish and manage these forests that we need. Particularly the planting and harvesting side. Everyone knows about the tree planting targets. Well, that needs people on the ground doing that work. And I would say as well that we need more research. We need science to understand the role of forests and the importance of forests, to be able to use them better and to get a better balance between all these different objectives that we want forests to provide. So in terms of the opportunities and progression, within Scotland, there are three main providers, I would say. The Scottish School of Forestry at UHI, the Scotland's Rural College at Barony, and there's Aberdeen University, who I think have an MSc related to forestry. But many people will do another subject, like ecology or engineering or whatever, in a university or a college, and then link that into the forest and timber industry. Particularly if you're working in using wood as a material, you might do a carpentry degree or a manufacturing degree or whatever. And there are some modern apprenticeship opportunities, and they are in Scotland, I think, provided by Rural Skills Scotland, Scottish School of Forestry, and SRUC Barony. But that's all explained in this wood and trees forestry induction pack, which I am encouraging you to read. So what skills and attributes do people have working in this industry? Well, it depends on the role, of course, but generally I think people need to have good communication skills. It's not just about being a loner out in the forest. You're always having to talk with people, and you need that good interpersonal skills as well. So you're never working alone, you're working with other people and you're interacting with the communities as well. There is no need in most of the jobs to have physical strength. A lot of people think that you need to be physically strong. There's a certain macho image around the industry, but that's not really representative of the modern workplace. I find, in my experience, people tend to be very friendly. They tend to be super enthusiastic about trees and wood. Everyone really loves their job, and they tend to be quite environmentally minded. Even the ones that are working in production forestry, they thinking about the benefit that they provide for the environment. Everyone is very safety conscious because obviously it is a potentially dangerous industry. It's not really one for risk takers, I would say. And everyone is feeling about good about their contribution to the wider society. And yeah, so that's how I find people. And I of all of the different sectors that I've worked with, I've never met such friendly, open, communicative and happy people as working in forestry. Obviously people do get annoyed with their jobs because that's life, but people tend to be really happy working with trees and wood. Now be careful about the stereotypes though, because there are outdoorsy people working in the industry, but not everyone is outdoorsy, and there are plenty of indoor jobs. So you don't need to have to like being in the rain. It's not about being self-reliant and about being a loner. You are working always with other people, even if you're out in the field. Yes, a lot of jobs are very practical side of things, but I would say I'm not really that practical myself. I'm more of a brain person, so you don't need necessarily to be practical. You don't need to be a risk taker. In fact, you shouldn't really be a risk taker. And there's a perception that this is a job for people that are not book smart, like that don't do well in the traditional academic environment. Then yeah, obviously people who struggle with the traditional academic life often do well in trees and timber. But that doesn't mean that people who are not academically minded would not also do well in trees and timber. So just because someone is doing well in school or examinations doesn't mean that there isn't an appropriate job for them also in trees and timber. And it is a very male-dominated industry, although it's improving lately, especially on the ecological side. But there is a certain perception that if you're not a guy, then this industry is not for you, and that is definitely a problematic stereotype and not true at all. And yes, a lot of jobs are active, but a lot of jobs are sedentary too. So if you don't like an active job, there is plenty that you can do in trees and timber, trust me. So what school subjects should you study? Well, again, it depends on the role, but it's worth thinking about what subjects you're interested in and how they relate to trees and timber and what kind of jobs would use those things, particularly what kind of job that you would like to have, especially if it needs qualifications. So if you're aiming for a specific job and a specific degree, you do need to be thinking about what do I need as prerequisites for that. But I will say people end up in the industry from a wide range of backgrounds. There are foresters who've studied classics at university. You know, you can study poetry and still be a forester. No door is ever completely closed. Skills and attributes. These subjects are listed in the induction pack. Last thing that I've got to say, because I know I've only got 1 minute left, is about the future of the industry. When we planted trees 30 years ago, 35 years ago, the world was very different. Like all of these things have changed the workplace in the time that it's taken a tree to grow. The internet, social media, all sorts of things, and the workplace is changing too. So there's a lot of new technology in the workplace, but it will still always be about people, about rising to the climate challenge and the shift to a circular bio-based economy. They'll be using those technological developments in communication, autonomous machinery, artificial intelligence, remote sensing, non-destructive assessment, and new applications for wood, because wood is used in all sorts of things that you would never imagine, like clothing and food. So yeah, this is the summary. I am at the end. It's a very important thing. If you want to be part of sustainable action, it's a very important industry to be part of, and it literally shapes the places in which we live, both the forests and the built environment and the things around us. And there are many types of role, and none of them fit the stereotypes, and lots of them are not visible. So seek them out and be very careful about those stereotypes, because they are quite problematic and they're not representative of the real modern industry. And it's about people and about needing people. And also, it's a good place for an adventure. Everyone likes being out in the forest.